Admiral Feller, you're not going to be surprised by this question. The question is interdiction of drug shipments, and I understand it's already been discussed to some extent. What do you need? If you were given a blank sheet of paper, what does the Coast Guard need? What do you need? What do we need to do a better job of interdicting those drug shipments that we know about? It's so frustrating that we are only interdicting about 25% of what we know about. So do we need 18 more cutters, 12 more Zodiacs? What's on your list of assets?
It's all of our responsibility, and we've got to start the source. So very encouraged by the Colombian government getting seriously back into the eradication game, and they've met their goals for 18, and we're seeing progress in 19. So record cocaine is going to mean record drug flows. Then we've got to stop it along the way. That requires ISR, intelligence and surveillance assets, maritime patrol aircraft, helicopters.
No, I understand that, but I'm asking you for some specifics. Do we need 8 more Global Hawks? Do we need 14 more cutters? What is it we need?
We need more Navy ships.
Okay.
From our U.S.
Of
Navy.
what nature?
The littoral combat ship is fit for purpose for this type of mission center. We need multiple force packages. We need the Coast Guard sustained presence. They've stepped up in a big way from 5 to 8 cutters over the holiday. And then we need the partners in the game. We're seeing improvements in some of the partners. I'll credit El Salvador, Guatemala. We need others to step up, and that requires pressure from our government and myself to get that to happen. So a lot of work to be done, Senator.
But do you feel we are moving the needle? Are we moving forward on these multiple fronts?
We had record interdiction in 17, 18, but it's insufficient. We're nudging, but we're not moving the needle enough, Senator. And one of the areas you asked me to look at previously, I need to get back to you on, is the authority piece and whether we have artificial seams between the air-land boundary and how we can better utilize and work across that boundary. We've stepped up our partnership within the last year with Drug Enforcement Agency and fusion centers here in the United States. Again, more needs to be done to stay ahead of the threat.
I just hope if there are assets in terms of either budgetary resources, authorities, you will let us know, because these drugs are killing our people, and one a day in Maine. And this is it seems to me a high return opportunity here, given the fact that we know of the shipments that we can't interdict.
Senator, I agree 100%. It's a threat to our nation, killing our citizens. It's killing citizens of our partner nations as well. And the money from this is fueling those drug and criminal organizations, which is driving instability. It's contributing to the other factors we see, like the illegal migration. So it's important for many reasons that we have to get after this.
Stay with us on this, Admiral. Thank you. On the issue of, and you mentioned in your testimony, I think in answer to Senator Kaine, about progress you're seeing in the Northern Triangle countries based upon American investments. I would point out that there was a huge refugee problem in the world in 1945. There were about 10 million refugees in Western Europe after World War II. One of the responses of this country was the Marshall Plan, which was designed to stabilize the economies of that region. It was very controversial at the time, but I think all would agree now it was immensely successful. I think we need a similar kind of approach to stabilizing those countries so people don't have to flee. The best way to stop someone coming to our border is that they never start on the journey, and that means, I believe you agree that means work. AID, agriculture, all of those programs in those countries, again, dealing with the issue of corruption, but to try to do that effectively. Do you agree that should be a priority?
Senator, I agree. That should be a priority.
Thank you. Quick question, General. By the way, these graphics are terrific on Chinese and Russian influence in Latin America. I compliment your staff, whoever presented them. They're very dramatic and sobering. General, in Africa, China's doing similar kinds of things, investing, lending, developing infrastructure, all those things. Is there a concern that this is a precursor to a military presence? I mean, is Djibouti a beginning of a militarization process that presents a kind of global threat or an expansion of a threat from China?
Senator, I think at this point in time, it's too early to make that leap at this point. I mean, they obviously want it. One of the reasons for their engagement there is they've got, 2,000 or so peacekeepers. They've got 300,000 or so civilians there. They want to be able to protect their interests in their projects that they're working on. So whether that leads to a militarization of the continent is still early to tell. But I would say that one of the areas of concern that we have there is in the Djibouti, the Straits of Bab el-Mandeb area, where the Red Sea comes down, where we've had really open access for quite some time. That is an area of concern because not only the Chinese, but the Russians, the Emiratis, the Saudis are all interested in real estate on the Red Sea on the African side, Sudan, Eritrea.
And they're using an interesting technique of lending money and then calling it. It's a kind of debt colonialism.
Well, they have leverage in many of their situations. And as I said, I mean, these are decisions these governments have to make. But Djibouti is really a classic example where the Chinese own over 80% of their overseas debt. And this is certainly a concern.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
gentlemen.
you.